Hello student, myself Kuhu Sarkar. Today I am going to continue my series of WB Set English paper 2023 deep explanation and analysis. So let's proceed. Question number 17. Question number 17. The Sturm and Drang movement influenced the answer will be the new classical movement. So let's see about Sturm and Drang movement. Sturm and Drang, German, Strom and Trace, German literary movement of the late 18th century that exalted nature, feelings, and human individualism and sought to overthrow the Enlightenment cult of rationalism. Goethe and Schiller began their careers as prominent members of the movement. So, Strom and Drang, which German meaning Strom and Stress. German, it is a German literary movement of the late 18th century that exalted nature, feeling, and human individualism and sought to overthrow the Enlightenment cult of rationalism. Goethe and Schiller began their careers as a prominent members of the movement. Now, our next question, question number 18. Which of these critics is known for his work as on reader response? And our answer will be Wolfgang Iser. So, you know that Wolfgang Iser is a famous name in reader response theory. So, let's see the description. Iser is known for his reader response criticism in the literary theory. This theory began to evolve in 1967 while he was working in the University of Constance, which he helped to found in 1960s. Together with Hans Robert Jauss, he is considered to be the founder of Constance School of Reception Theory. So he is considered to be the founder of Constance School of Reception Theory. In his approach to reader response theory, Iser describes the process of first reading, the subsequent development of the text into a whole, and how the dialogue between the reader and takes place. In his study of Shakespeare's histories, in particular Richard II, so he studies Shakespeare's histories, particular Richard II. Iser interprets Richard's continually changing legal policy as expression of the desire for self-assertion. Here he follows Blumenberg and attempts to apply his theory of modernity to Shakespeare. In his theory of modernity, and modernity is self assertion which responds to the destruction of the scholastic rationalism in the nominalist revolution. So here we see that Wolfgang Iser is a famous name of reader response theory, and he also known for reception theory, and in his approach of reader response theory, and he also interprets Shakespeare's histories, particularly Richard II. Now see our next question, question number 19, which is an interesting question. Which of the play focus on the problem of AIDS? And the answer will be Angels in America. In our previous question paper also, in WB said, they always most of the time they follows the novel Angel in America, which was based on homosexuality and AIDS. So let's see about the novel. Angels in America. The full name Angels in America, a gay fantasia on national themes, is a two-part play by American playwright Tony Kushner. So it was written by Tony Kushner, who was an American playwright. The work won numerous awards, including the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. So it was uh, won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama, the Tony Award for Best Play and Drama Desk Award. It was also adapted in a film for outstanding play. The play is a complex, often metaphorical, and at times symbolic examination of AIDS and homosexuality in America in the 1980s. Certain major and minor characters are supernatural beings like angels, deceased persons like ghosts. So there are some supernatural beings like angels and ghosts. Many contains multiple roles for several actors, initially and primarily focusing on gay and on straight couple in Manhattan. The plot has several additional storylines, some of which inter occasionally. The two parts of the play, are millennium approaches in and perestroika may be presented separately. So here we see the main theme of the novel is homosexuality and AIDS. There are some couple and they are traveling for their homosexuality and AIDS disease in America, which is very much relevant in 1980s. So let's see the other options. The other options are the crucible, glass mimicry, and hairy ape. So let's see the other options. Now see the next option, the crucible. Crucible. The Crucible plot summary. Act 1. The Crucible opens with a Salem's minister. It is a very much interesting story. So it opens with Salem's minister, the Reverend, and Paris watching over his sick daughter Betty, wondering what is wrong with her. And we soon learn that the entire town is bustling with rumors and that Betty is sick because of witchcraft. So we see that Betty is sick because of witchcraft and rape. Paris had seen both Betty and his niece Abigail dancing in the forest with his slave Tituba. So uh, Betty was sick, and Paris had seen both Betty and his niece Abigail dancing in the forest with his slave Tituba. So they are doing witchcrafting, right? The night before, the evening in the forest, he also saw cauldron and a frog leaping into it. So they were doing witchcrafting in the forest, and after that Betty became sick. When first questioned, Abigail, who we can say that an antagonist, denies that she or Betty have been involved in witchcraft. So they denies that they are doing any witchcraft, but she admits that they were dancing in the forest with Tituba. But they agree that they were dancing with Tituba. Now, Act 2 opens in the proctor's kitchen. So now the another character, proctors. So the next act opens in the proctor's kitchen. Proctor and his wife Elizabeth. So we see that the antagonist Abigail and proctors had an affair, and mm since Elizabeth is the wife of proctors, and so Abigail want to take revenge to Elizabeth. She want to murder Elizabeth, and therefore she doing all this witchcrafting, right? And she want to revenge Elizabeth and want to marry proctors. So we see that Proctor and his wife mourn that their household helper Mary Warren is caught up in the frenzy accusation. Elizabeth is afraid. So when they Abigail, Betty, and the Tituba they caught for doing witchcrafting, they denies that they are not doing anything like witchcraft, and they said that they can. So the people who were doing witchcraft, and therefore Mary Warren is caught up in a frenzy of accusation. Elizabeth is afraid. They know that Abigail is behind all this accusation, and Elizabeth argues Proctor to go to town and reveal that Abigail basically said it was all a hoax. Elizabeth makes an allusion to the affair of Proctor had with Abigail and catches him in a lie. He told her that he was not alone with Abigail at the Paris home, but in fact he was. So here we see that Proctor said that he was not alone with Abigail at Paris home, but in fact he was. So now see the main plot. So what happened in the beginning of the story? We see that Betty was fallen sick. Okay, and Reverend Perry's daughter Betty was fallen sick, and the town fears its witchcraft. Woods, Abigail and Betty were seen the night before dancing in the woods and Tituba with their slave Tituba. Then Abigail says that Tituba called the devil and that's why Betty sick. And Tituba confessed but says that they are other witches in town. So they blaming each other. Then what happened? We now see that Proctor had an affair with Abigail, and his wife Elizabeth also knows the fact. And here we also know that Abigail want to take revenge from Elizabeth. So so she is doing all this witchcrafting. Now see, puppets and accusation. A needle stuck in Mary's puppet leads to the arrest of Elizabeth, and to save her, Proctor accused Abigail of being an adulteress. So what happened? A needle stuck in Mary's puppet lead to the arrest of Elizabeth, and to save her wife, Proctor accuses Abigail that being an adulteress. Now in jail, Mary acts crazy and accuses Proctor of making her sign the devil's book. Proctor is then taken to the slumber. Now hanging. Proctor refused to confess, and now he is hanged. So we see that Proctor is uh, rejecting all these confess, and now he is hanged. Now the theme of the play, we see that the theme is witch hunt. Witch hunt means communist hunt. Communist hunt. The play itself is a giant symbol of the state of the United States during the Cold War. Accusation, instead of accusing everyone witchcraft, Senator and McCarthy FBI were accusing everyone of being communist. So here the witchcraft symbolize the communist communist hunt, now suspicion. So just like the people of Salem not wanting to appear ungodly, Americans were afraid to appear leftist in the way, in any way. So just like people of Salem not wanting to appear ungodly, Americans were afraid to appear leftist in any way. So they try to be leftist, right? Now the other symbol, lives ruined. Many innocent people. It was a true story which the crucible depict. It was based on a true real story. Many innocent people had their lives torn apart by accusation in both with trials and as a result of McCarthyism. So the play Crucible was based on the true story where many innocent peoples were killed for accusation of witchcraft and result of McCarthyism. So now see the next option. The next option is glass mimicry. The glass mimicry written by Tennyson Williams. So now see about the glass mimicry. The Glass Mimicry is a memory play by Tennyson Williams that premiered in 1944 and catapulted Williams from obscurity to fame. The play is had a strong autobiographical elements. So this is important that the play has strong autobiographical element featuring characters based on its author and his mother and mentally fragile sister. So it's based on the author and his histrionic mother and the mentally fragile sister. In writing the play, William drew on an earlier short story as well as a screenplay he had turned under the title of Gentleman Caller. So we see that, one second. The play is introduced to the audience by Tom and the narrator and the protagonist as a memory play based on the recollection of his mother, Amanda, and his sister Laura. Because the play is based on memory, Tom caution the audience that what they see may not be precisely what happened. So, mm, now see the story of the play. Story of the play begins with Amanda Amanda Wingfield, a faded southern belle of middle age, shares a dingy South St. Louis apartment with her son Tom in his early 20s and his slightly older sister Laura. Although she is survivor and a pragmatist, Amanda yearns for the comforts and the admiration she remembers from her days as a fated debutante. She worries especially about the future of her daughter Laura, a young woman with a limp, an after effect of a bout of pleurosis. So tremulous insecurity about outside world. So Laura, we see that Laura is insecure for the outside world. Tom works in a warehouse, doing his best to support the family. He keeps under the banality and boredom of everyday life and struggles to write, spending much of his spare time going to the movies, and he says all at all hours of the night. Now, Amanda is obsessed with finding a suitor for her daughter, and whose crippling shyness had led to the dropout of both high school and subsequent secretarial courses. So she is very much shy, and Amanda is very much obsessed with finding for a suitor for her daughter, and pressured by his mother to help find a caller for Laura, Tom invites Jim. So, when his mother forced him, he invites Jim, an acquaintance from work, home for a dinner. Now, the delighted Amanda passes uh, spruces up apartment and prepares special dinner, converses quietly with Jim. So Amanda try that Jim to marry her daughter Laura. Laura discovers that Jim is the boy she attracted in the high school and has thought of since. Uh, though the relationship between Laura and most likely to succeed. So you see that Laura has then likings for Jim from her high school time, right? Now we see that after dinner, however, Jim and Laura left alone by the candlelight in the living room, waiting for the electricity to restore. Tom has not paid the power bill, and which hints to the audience that he is bunking the bill money and preparing to leave the household. As the evening progressed, Jim recognized Laura's feelings of inferiority and encouraged her to think better of herself. So what happened as the evening progressed, Jim recognized that Laura's feelings of inferiority. So she had an inferiority complex, and he encouraged her to think better of herself. He and Laura shares a quiet dance, and as I said that Laura has already Laura had a feeling for Jim, and when they start dancing, the feelings increase again, in which he accidentally brushes against her glass mannequin, knocking a glass unicorn to the floor and breaking of its horn. So what happened that in accidentally Jim break the glass mannequin and breaking of its horn. Jim then compliments Laura and kisses her. After Jim tells Laura that he is already engaged to be married, Laura asks him to take the broken unicorn as a gift, and he then leaves. Now, what happened that he said Laura that he is already engaged. When Amanda learns that Jim is to be married, she turns her anger upon Tom and cruelly lashes out at him. Although Tom did not know that Jim was engaged, Tom seems quite surprised by this, and it is possible that Jim was only making up the story engagement, as he felt that the family was trying to set up him up with Laura, and he had no romantic interest in her. So it is possible that he is only making up stories. The play concludes with Tom saying that he left home afterward and never returned. He then bids farewell to his mother and sister, asks Laura to blow out the candles. Now we see that at the end of the play, Tom declares that she is going to leave the house, and she will never return. So here I missed the other option, here A. Now I am give you a brief introduction and summary of the story Hairy Ape, which I forgot to include in the PDF. The Hairy Ape is a 1922 expressionist play by American playwright Eugene O'Neill. It is about a beastly and unthinking laborer known as Young, the protagonist of the play, as he searches for a sense of being in the world controlled by the rich. At first, Young feels secure as he strokes the engines of an ocean liner and is highly confident in his physical power over the ship's engines and his men. So, what happened that the protagonist Young is searching for identity, and he was a laborer, and at first, at the beginning of the play, he is very much confident about his work and his physique and his identity. But when he was insulted uh, by an lady, after that he started to finding he started to uh, d- become frustrated, and he's tried to find her identity. And after that we see that however, when the rich daughter of an industrialist in the steel business refers to him as a filthy beast, the word in quotation filthy beast, Young undergoes a crisis of identity. So starts his mental and physical deterioration. He leaves the ship and wanders into Manhattan, only to find he does not belong anywhere, neither with the socialists of Fifth Avenue, nor with the laborer organizers on the waterfront. In a fight of social belongings, Young's mental state disintegrated and into animalistic, and in the end, he defeated by an ape in which Young's character has been infected. The hairy ape is a portrayal of the impact industrialization and social class has on the dynamic character Young. So, the hairy ape is a portrayal of the impact industrialization and social class has on dynamic character Young. So, sorry for the inconvenience. I forgot to include the PDF of hairy ape. So let's see the next question. The next question is, who wrote the book Structuralist Poetics? And the answer is Jonathan Cooler. So let's see about the writer. Jonathan Cooler, born in 1944, is an American literary critic, and he was class of 1916 professor of English and comparative literature at Cornell University. He published works are in the fields of structuralism, literary theory, and literary criticism. Cooler's structuralism and linguistics, and the study of literature won the James Russell Lowell Prize from Modern Language Association in America in 1976 for an outstanding book of criticism. Structural poetics was one of the first introductions to the French structuralist movement available in English. Cooler's contribution varies to the very short introduction series, literary theory, and a very short introduction receives praise for its innovation techniques of organization. It has translated into 26 languages. In literary in theory 2007, Cooler discussed the nation of theory and literary history's role in the larger realm of reality and Cooler cultural theory. Cultural theory. He defines theory as an interdisciplinary body including structuralist, linguistics, and anthropology, Marxism, semiotics, psychoanalysis, literary criticism. His theory of the lyric, also a famous book, approaches Western lyric tradition. So here we see that Jonathan Fuller was a famous name for structuralism theory. Now his other works are like structuralist poetics, structuralism, linguistics, and study of literature is a 1975 book of literary theory by the critic Jonathan Fuller, first published by Routledge Kegel, and it won the James Russell Prize. Okay, now see our next question. Our next question is uh, Dr. Samuel Johnson's edition of Shakespeare appeared in 1765. Preface to Shakespeare by Samuel Johnson. Now let's see our next question. Question number 22. Which of the following is not an author level metric? And the answer is eigen factor. Now see the explanation. So I myself know very little about the question. Now see the explanation. Author level matrix. What is author level matrix? Author level matrix help track an individual researcher's impact in an academic discipline. This is traditionally calculated by using the number of times their scholarly publications are cited by other researchers. So what is author level matrix? Author level matrix help track an individual researcher's impact in an academic discipline. Individual researchers impact in an academic discipline. This is traditionally calculated by using number of items their scholarly publication. So how many times their publication are published or are cited by other researchers. So how many times their publication are cited by other researchers. And author impacts factor help in promotion and tenure as well as aiding in funding and grants. So these impact factors can help in promotion and tenure as well as aiding in finding and grants. So there are some author level metrics. Famous are age index, which is in our option. The age index developed in 2005 by J. E. Harris is one of the most widely used author level metrics that quantifies research output by measuring authors productivity and impact. For a researcher to have an age index, they must have a certain number of publications that have received at least 8 citations. For example, age index of 15 means the researchers has at least 15 publications that have been cited at least 15 times each. So we see that for age index 15 means the researcher has at least 15 publications that had been cited at least 15 times. Now let's see the other options. The other options are G index and um, Google Scholar. G index created by Leo Ige as a response to the age index. So it was created as a response of age index is an author level metric which places through weight on highly cited articles You can view an author's G index by downloading a free citation analysis software program called Publish or Perish. So now see the Google Scholar Matrix provide an easy way for authors to quickly gauge and visibility and influence the recent article of scholarly publications. Scholar Matrix summarize recent citation to many publications to help authors as they consider where to publish new research. So what is Google Scholar? Google Scholar is providing an easy way for authors to quickly gauge the visibility and influence the recent articles in the scholarly publication. Now see what is in Eigen factor score developed by Jevin West and Bergstrom at the University of Washington is a rating of the total importance of the scientific journal. So it is a rating of total importance of scientific journal. Journals are rated according to the number of incoming citations, which with um, citations from highly ranked journal weighted to make larger contribution to the hygiene factor than those from poorly ranked journals. As a measure of importance, the hygiene factor score scales with total impact of a journal. All else equal, journals generating higher impact to the field have larger engine factor scores. So we now know that engine factors is a rating of the total importance of the scientific journal, and journals are rated according to the number of incoming citations. So this is the end of the video, and if you like my explanation and analysis, please do like and comment, and you can watch the previous videos where I did deep explanation of the English other questions. So thank you very much for watching.